So, welcome to Audible Thoughts channel starting intro. I want you to just take a second right now, wherever you are.
Just pause for a moment.
Yeah, exactly. And just notice the voice in your head.
You definitely know the one.
Right. It's that voice that might be judging the audio quality of this very recording or, suddenly worrying about what you need to take out of the freezer for dinner.
Or stressing over an email you sent like 3 hours ago.
Exactly. I mean, just notice it. Listen to it for a second. Because almost everyone walking the planet is entirely trapped by this constant, unrelenting mental noise.
It never really shuts off, does it?
No, it doesn't. And the craziest part is that we just assume that voice is who we are.
Right. We spend our entire lives utterly identified with that internal chatter.
Yeah.
We operate under this huge delusion that we are the narrator of our lives rather than the actual life happening in real time.
And dismantling that delusion is our entire mission for today's deep dive. I'm your host, and I'm super excited to get into this with our resident expert today.
I'm really thrilled to be here for this one. It's a game changer.
It really is. So we are pulling from a truly transformative source today. It's the Hindi translation of Eckhart Tolle's modern classic, Practicing the Power of Now.
A phenomenal book.
Yeah, and in Hindi, it's titled Akin Kaninkoding Kamakarana, published in India by Yogi Impressions. And what makes this specific text so brilliant is that it takes the profound and sometimes kind of overwhelming philosophical concepts of Tolle's original work and, it distills them.
It breaks them down into tangible daily practices.
Exactly. It bridges that gap between high-level spiritual theory and the messy reality of your Tuesday afternoon commute.
And it really demands that we look at the actual mechanics of our consciousness. Because to break free from the slavery of the mind, we have to deeply understand why human beings are so prone to living anywhere but the present.
Which we do constantly.
Constantly. And we have to understand why the present moment is biologically and psychologically terrifying to our ego.
Okay, let's unpack this. Because if we want to escape that noisy voice we just talked about, the source material says the very first step is a massive paradigm shift.
The biggest shift you can make.
Right. We have to separate our true selves from our thinking mind. We have to realize that freedom basically begins the moment you realize you are not the thinker.
Yes.
I like to think of it like realizing you aren't the radio playing static in the background. You are the room that the radio is sitting in.
Oh, there's a great analogy.
Thanks. You are the silent space where the sound happens. But my struggle, and I imagine the struggle for anyone trying to practice this, is how we actually turn down that radio without just creating a louder broadcast about trying to stop it.
Right, the classic trap.
Yeah, we've all been there. You tell yourself, I need to stop thinking. Wait, am I thinking? Great, now I'm thinking about not thinking.
What's fascinating here is that the text explicitly warns against fighting the thoughts.
Oh, really?
Yeah, because fighting them requires resistance, right? And resistance is just another form of mental energy.
So you're just fueling the fire.
Exactly. You end up feeling the exact machine you're trying to shut down.
Yeah.
So instead, the practice is simply to shine the light of awareness on the mental chatter.
Just watch it happen.
You become what the text calls the watcher of the thinker. You just listen to the voice in your head impartially without judging or condemning it.
Which is hard to do.
It takes practice. You don't try to banish an angry or anxious thought. You simply observe it and note, there's anxiety.
Because the moment you judge it, you've just switched to a different station on the same radio.
You're back in the mind.
Right. The judgment itself is just another thought slipping through the back door, keeping you totally trapped.
And the observation alone changes the dynamic. When you simply watch the thought, you create a microscopic gap in the mental stream.
Like a look pause?
Yeah. The source refers to this space as no mind, or in the Hindi translation, ahi.
Ahi.
Right. And this isn't some empty, dull void. The prefix a just means without. And man refers to the churning, discursive mind. So Guz is just stepping out of the churn.
They love that.
In that gap, thought is suspended, but your consciousness is hyper-alert. And that specific state of alert presence is where true peace and creativity actually originate.
And the source grounds this in such a practical way, which I just really love. It doesn't tell you to go sit in a cave for a decade to find this gap of go.
No, not at all.
It suggests using totally mundane tasks. So, for example, when you are washing your hair, usually you rush through it, right? You're thinking about the meeting you have in 5 minutes.
Or what's for lunch.
Exactly. But the practice is to stop and pay absolute, unyielding attention to the sensory experience.
Just be totally there.
You feel the temperature of the water. You listen to the sound it makes hitting the porcelain, you smell the soap, you just feel the friction of your hands rubbing together.
Taking the stairs is another perfect laboratory for this, actually.
Oh, how so?
Well, instead of treating the stairs as merely a means to get to the next floor, you make the act of climbing the end itself.
So you're not just rushing to get up there.
Right. You pay close attention to the shifting weight in your legs, the rhythm of your breathing, the texture of the handrail. You withdraw your consciousness from the abstract world of the mind.
And anchor it completely in the physical reality of the now.
Precisely. And doing this is essentially starving the mind of its fuel.
Because the mind needs time to survive, right?
Yes, the mind relies entirely on the illusion of psychological time. It obsesses over the past because the past provides an identity. I am the sum of my traumas and my achievements.
Right. Our ego loves a backstory.
It really does. And it fixates on the future because the future promises some sort of ultimate fulfillment. Like, I will finally be at peace when I get that promotion.
Or when Friday finally arrives.
Exactly. But the absolute present moment renders the egoic mind completely irrelevant.
Right.
If you are entirely absorbed in the sensory reality of the water on your hands, there is no historical identity to defend.
And there's no future salvation to seek. There's literally only the action.
And the mind views this state of deep presence as an existential threat.
Because it's out of a job.
Exactly. Which is why your brain will fight so incredibly hard to pull you back into a memory or hurl you forward into some anxiety.
So if the mind is constantly engaged in this frantic time travel, dragging us out of the present, what is the physical toll of that friction? Because we aren't just floating heads,
No, we have nervous systems.
Right. And the text provides a brilliant causal link here. The bridge between the conceptual mind and the physical body is our emotions.
The source defines emotion as the body's direct reaction to the mind.
That makes a lot of sense.
The human body is highly intelligent, but it cannot differentiate between a physical threat in the present room and a psychological threat projected into the future by your thoughts.
Wow. So if your mind is running a stress loop about an upcoming presentation,
Your body reacts as if a predator is in the room right now.
that is wild. And the text notes that if there is ever a conflict between what you think and what you feel, the emotion, which is the body, is always telling the truth about your state.
It never lies.
Right. Your conscious mind might be spinning a narrative saying, oh, I'm totally fine. I'm completely over that argument.
But if your chest is tight,
And your jaw is clenched and your stomach is in knots, your body is revealing the actual reality of your internal friction.
and this physiological reality introduces one of the most compelling concepts in the text,
Oh, this is the part that blew my mind.
the pain body, or in the Hindi translation, air mind. Because we spend decades unconsciously identified with a mind that is constantly generating fear of the future and resentment over the past, we accumulate a massive reservoir of negative emotional energy.
And it doesn't just go away.
No, this energy doesn't just evaporate. It lodges in our physical and energetic system.
Here's where it is really interesting, because the book describes this pain body almost like an independent, invisible entity living inside of us.
It really does.
An accumulation of past emotional pain that just occasionally wakes up and takes over. Now, I have to assume you might be listening to this and thinking exactly what I thought.
Which is,
So, the pain body is basically an emotional parasite. Like, are we literally sabotaging our own lives just to feed this invisible baggage? It sounds almost mythological.
it does sound like sci-fi at first.
But if we look at the biology of it, it makes total sense.
Yeah.
Our brains can literally become chemically addicted to the cortisol and adrenaline released during conflict.
The parasite analogy holds up perfectly under psychological and neurological scrutiny. I mean, think about the human craving for outrage.
Oh, it's everywhere online.
We often actively seek out things that make us furious. Doom scrolling through the news, replaying an unfair argument in the shower.
Provoking a fight over something totally trivial.
Right. It actually feels satisfying in a perverse way to be angry.
Right.
We get a hit of identity from it. And the entity craving that hit isn't your conscious self. It is the pain body. Like any living thing, its primary drive is survival, and its food is suffering, drama, and negative thinking.
So it literally cannot feed on joy. It needs misery to sustain itself.
Exactly.
So when we are unconscious, meaning, when we are completely lost in our thoughts and not anchored in the present, the pain body hijacks the system. It basically becomes us.
And the method for starving this entity requires immense vigilance. The text is unambiguous about this. The pain body cannot survive the light of conscious presence.
It hates being seen.
It relies entirely on your unconscious identification with it. The second you feel that heavy, familiar urge for drama or irritation rising in your chest, your task is to shine your awareness directly onto it.
So you just internally acknowledge, okay, the pain body is waking up.
Yes, you observe the physiological sensation of the emotion, the exact same way we talked about watching The Thinker. You don't judge the anger.
Or analyze the childhood trauma that caused it.
Definitely not. And you definitely don't act out the anger. You just feel the raw energy of it in your body, remaining entirely present.
I imagine that breaks the circuit, right? By watching it, you are no longer it.
Precisely.
The emotion just becomes an energy field passing through your awareness, losing its ability to puppet your behavior.
It creates a crucial separation. But of course, the pain body doesn't just operate in a vacuum. It requires external triggers to generate the friction it feeds on.
And other people are the best triggers.
Oh, absolutely. There is absolutely no richer feeding ground for this emotional parasite than our interactions with other human beings.
Which perfectly explains why our most intimate romantic relationships are routinely our greatest sources of profound suffering.
It's the ultimate test.
The pain body is basically looking for an all-you-can-eat buffet, and romantic love is usually where it finds it.
The text highlights a deeply uncomfortable truth about how we approach romance. We typically enter relationships seeking a partner to complete us.
To fill some psychological void.
Right. Or to provide us with a stable sense of happiness. This is the ego using another human being as a means to an end.
Which never works.
No, it is inherently flawed, and the text argues it inevitably collapses.
Because when the partner inevitably fails to meet the impossible demands of our ego, the dynamic flips. That classic love-hate oscillation kicks in.
And the pain body wakes up.
The pain body gets activated, and suddenly the person you swore you loved more than life itself is the person you are viciously screaming at because they loaded the dishwasher wrong.
We've all been there.
Right. And the text suggests a radical shift here, treating relationships not as vehicles for personal happiness, but as a spiritual practice. A sadhana.
Sagana.
Yeah. But wait, isn't the whole point of falling in love to be happy? I have to push back here, and you might be thinking the exact same thing as you listen to this.
It's a common reaction.
Reframing your romance as a spiritual boot camp sounds incredibly exhausting. Shouldn't a relationship just be a supportive, fun refuge from the world?
If we connect this to the bigger picture, we have to critically examine what we actually mean by happiness.
Okay, fair.
The ego desires the illusion of completion through another person. It's a superficial, dependency-based happiness.
Like, make me feel good all the time.
Right. And because it is rooted in illusion, it is incredibly fragile and constantly under threat, which is why it so predictably devolves into drama.
So the premise is flawed from the start.
The profound assertion of the source is that relationships aren't designed to make you happy in that shallow egoic sense. They are designed to make you conscious.
They're designed to trigger your pain body so you can finally see it in the light.
Precisely the mechanism. When your partner's pain body flares up, when they act irrational, or pick a fight, or project their insecurities onto you.
Your ego's default biological reflex is to defend itself.
You want to attack back.
You justify your position or you judge them.
But the moment you react to their unconsciousness, you have abandoned your own presence.
You step right into the mud with them.
You have entered their illusion. Your pain body has risen up to feed on theirs.
And it just becomes a mutual feeding frenzy of misery. So to treat the relationship as a sadhana means holding the space of conscious presence while they are dysregulated.
Yes.
You don't try to fix them, you don't defend yourself, and you don't judge. You just watch and listen.
Which is incredibly hard.
I imagine that takes a superhuman amount of restraint to just stand there, fully anchored in the present, while someone is actively projecting their emotional garbage onto you.
It does. It requires a fundamental shift in how you interact with reality itself, which actually brings us to the final and perhaps most complex concept of this text.
Surrender.
Surrender. The Hindi translation, the word is inalan,
Yeah.
to hold that kind of non-reactive space for a partner or for ourselves when our lives are falling apart. We have to entirely cease our internal war against reality.
So what does this all mean? The word surrender comes with a lot of cultural baggage.
It really does.
It conjures images of weakness, of waving a white flag, or just being a passive victim letting people walk all over you.
Like giving up.
Right. So I'm hypothesizing here, but maybe spiritual surrender is less about giving up your boundaries and more about stopping the internal tantrum before you take external action.
Yeah.
How do we differentiate between true surrender and just being a pushover?
This raises an important question, and the distinction is critical. The text is incredibly precise here. Surrender is an internal state, not an external behavior.
Okay, that's a key difference.
The Hindi word kanham carries the nuance of a profound yielding or offering, rather than a military defeat. It does not mean fatalism.
It doesn't mean you just let bad things happen.
Right. It does not dictate that you remain in an abusive situation or accept a terrible life circumstance.
So the surrender happens before the action. You aren't surrendering to the situation, you are surrendering to the reality that the situation currently exists.
You are yielding to the what is of the present moment. Think of the neurological mechanism of resistance.
What happens in the brain?
When you resist reality, when you think, this shouldn't be happening, this isn't fair, your brain perceives a threat. It triggers a fight or flight response.
And you just panic.
It literally shuts down your prefrontal cortex, which is the logical, creative center of your brain. So your actions become reactive, polluted with panic and anger.
Wow, so you literally can't think straight.
Exactly. Surrender is the unconditional acceptance of the present moment. You find absolute inner peace first, accepting the reality of the situation without mental complaint.
And then you act.
Then, with your prefrontal cortex fully online and your awareness sharp, you take action. You can firmly tell someone their behavior is unacceptable or walk away from a toxic job, but you do it from a place of immense clarity rather than defensive rage.
The text uses a beautiful visualization for this, the flashlight analogy.
Oh, I love this one.
Imagine you are walking along a path at night, engulfed in an incredibly thick fog.
Super disorienting.
Totally. And that fog represents your life situation. The overwhelming complexity of your financial problems, relationship issues, past traumas, and future anxieties.
It's everything swirling around you.
Right. Your mind wants to panic because it can't see the destination, but you are holding a flashlight.
And what does the flashlight do?
The beam of that light cuts through the fog just enough to illuminate the exact next step right in front of your feet. That flashlight beam is your conscious presence in the now.
You don't need to see the entire path. You don't need to unravel your entire life situation in this exact moment.
You just take the one step.
You surrender to the existence of the fog, but you focus 100% of your energy and light on the immediate practical step right in front of you.
And building the capacity to do that in a crisis requires practicing it during minor annoyances.
You have to build muscle.
Yeah. And the book outlines a very relatable exercise for this, the car alarm practice.
This is a great one to try.
Let's say you're sitting in your living room, enjoying a quiet evening, and suddenly a blaring car alarm goes off down the street. Instantly, the mind generates a wall of resistance.
Who left their car like that? This is ruining my evening.
Exactly. I can't stand this noise. But the physical noise isn't actually causing the suffering?
No, the mind's resistance to the noise is causing the suffering. You are internally fighting a reality that is already occurring.
The practice is to notice that resistance building and instead visualize yourself becoming physically transparent.
Just let it pass through.
Imagine you no longer have a solid form for the noise to crash against. You let the sound of the alarm pass completely through you.
You don't label it as bad or annoying.
You simply accept it as a vibration in the space of the present moment. You yield to it, and almost miraculously, the psychological agitation vanishes.
You are practicing being the vast space in which the event happens, rather than a solid object reacting to the event.
Which builds that neurological muscle of presence.
If you can achieve Caligon with a car alarm, you incrementally build the capacity to remain transparent when a coworker insults you.
And eventually, when a major life tragedy strikes, you train yourself to stop fighting the now.
It's all about practice.
So as we pull all these threads together for you listening, the ultimate revelation of this deep dive into practicing the power of now is that the human mind, with its obsessive mechanical dwelling on the past and the future, is the literal engine of your suffering.
It is the static drowning out your life.
But you have the agency to step outside of it.
By vigilantly watching the thinker.
By recognizing the physiological pull of the pain body before it forces you into drama.
And by practicing profound inner surrender to exactly what is happening in the present moment, you reclaim your consciousness.
You step out of the illusion of psychological time and anchor yourself in the only dimension where life actually unfolds, the now.
It is a complete rewiring of how you experience existence.
It really is. And we want to leave you with a final, lingering challenge from the text to ponder today. A practical experiment to take out into your life.
The source gives a pretty startling directive. Die to the past every moment.
It demands that we stop dragging our historical baggage into fresh moments.
Which is so hard, but so worth it.
So here is your mission. The next time you interact with someone important to you, like a close friend, a coworker, or especially your romantic partner, try an experiment.
Look at them entirely without the heavy lens of everything they did yesterday.
Or the argument you had last year, or the 10 years of history you share.
Strip away the mental narrative.
What would happen if you met them completely fresh, in the absolute present, with zero past attached?
Just your conscious presence, their presence, and the space between you.
If you can truly drop the history, you might be profoundly surprised by the human being actually standing in front of you.
It changes everything.
Try it out.
Yeah.
And while you do, take a second right now and just notice the voice in your head.
Is it analyzing everything we just talked about?
Good. Now you know you aren't it. Thanks for taking this deep dive with us. Catch you next time.